Welcome back to another designer profile video, and in this one we're looking at another stunning course, and this one is from scottish67. Now he hasn't put out that many courses, but this one, Wingspread Prairie, really did kind of turn a lot of heads when it came out. It came out in a World Cup side contest, and had it hit the main field it would have done some serious damage there, because it was just such a different look to what we've seen before, and a really great take on the Nebraska Sandhills course of the same name. This course is a lot of fun. There's, as we've seen with some other courses, it's really wide open. You get big sweeping views, but the grass planting is just on point. So really cool use of the step theme that you may not have identified if you're not looking carefully. There's some fun hole designs, and it's just using a great plot, and it's clear that you took a lot of time putting the plot together and then just going around and finding the very best holes available, which is exactly what Cobb and Crenshaw did back at Sandhills. So we're going to leap into this one, play a few holes, and really kind of identify what it is that gets the most out of this course. Enjoy! So with each course I like to have something that we're trying to profile, and with this one we're going to look at the land movement, both big and small, and just the ease at which the course sits on the land. So you've got these dunes all the way around, bunkers nestled naturally into them. And on this first hole we see that we've got a wide open fairway you can lay back, but it becomes a bit more pinched at driver landing point, with the land movement gently moving it towards this bunker, and then you've got a green subtly moving the other way and kind of running from front to back a little as well, meaning that you're probably holding the green and getting a decent putt for birdie, but to get it really close you do have to be precise. So really playable for all levels. I really struggled to pick best par fours on this course. There's so many good ones, and it'll come as no surprise that you're getting more than one on this one. The second, though, is an absolute stunner of a hole. Your bunkering just on the inside is so natural and just allows that fairway to guide around to the left. The further left you are, the more you open up the green, but all the while right. Where this hole really comes into its own is the green surrounds. Look at the contours on the green. It's really carefully tiered, and it's quite hard to get the ball close. That encourages you to use the land around the green, and the small green surface coupled with those tricky slopes means you're really thinking about where you want to land the ball, how the slopes are going to kick the ball towards the hole, and just encourages you to be creative. It's an awesome approach. Now the third is a masterpiece of angles, and before going into the flyover we're just going to highlight how that works. We've got a split fairway, and if we go down the ideal line, the left, look at our view of the green. We're looking at it straight down this chute, and we can go straight at it. We go down the right over here where there's a bit more space, bit kind of fewer hazards. Look at our view in. We're now obstructed by that bunker way short of the green. If we're looking at the angle we're taking on, well, those slopes are helping us a little less, and we've got more chance of going over them. Plus this mound in front of the green comes into play a little bit more. So as you can see from the tee, we get those hills coming in straight off the left. That frames your view nicely. And our view is dominated by those central hazards, as well as that little bunker on the left-hand side just jutting in. Again, the bunkers are kind of free-form shapes, they're not traditional shapes, and those merge with the landscape really well. As aforementioned, if you're going down the right, that big bunker comes into play more visually than anything else. It's the slopes that are going to kick a ball coming from the left more towards the hole, whereas from the right you're really struggling to get at some of these pins. This is probably the friendliest of them. It's a really cool, really clever par 5, and generous. Where this course and so many other top courses excel is how they work with the longer holes. And the 8th is a great example of a long par 4 that isn't trying to do anything too flashy, but it's just really good. The best tee shot is over those bunkers on the right to a blind fairway that you can't really see. If you hedge your bets down the left, you could run into that left-hand bunker. A long approach to a really uncluttered, lightly contoured green means that you've got every chance of hitting it on, but again, there's all sorts of slopes that are just gently pushing a ball towards or away from the hole, meaning that every inch further left you are, the approach gets a little bit trickier, and it's really encouraging you to land the ball short and be creative with how you get it to the hole. The best par 3, and I had to go for the 15th, and whilst I love a short par 3, this one is truly special because it's different to the rest of the course, and it's just nestled in these dunes, and it really feels at home with its surroundings. You've just found a perfect little green site in the midst of all this chaos and just set a green down there, and it works so nicely and feels very hidden from the rest of the property, and I think for me that made it just super special on this course. Closing hole, and it's a wide open look again off the tee, very much how we started. That said, it does choke down, and we can see that green is tucked right up against those bunkers that gradually lead our way around. The further left we can go off this tee, the less we're going to have to cut those bunkers off, but the fairway ends at an awkward distance and then shrinks down to almost nothing, meaning it's basically all carry all the way to the green, and you're just hitting a really accurate shot to a narrow green. So basically, the question is, don't go left or right, so be very precise with your line rather than length. So a really good finishing hole. Leaping back into the designer, and what can you take from this and use in your own courses? Well, I think the first one is this, for me, feels like it was designed with a real sense of freedom. It's not conventional. He's just gone out and found really fun green sites. They're uncluttered at points, they're really open. Sometimes they're really tucked in and like demanding very precise shots. At times they're big with minimal contouring. At times they're small with quite severe contouring. Take 12 for a very long approach shot. It's just fun, and everything around every corner was a shot that you weren't necessarily expecting. I mean, compare the first green, it's like 54 yards long, and then we compare that to 15th green, which is 35 but only 11 yards or so wide. There's massive changes, but it always works because it's keeping things interesting. It's not asking the same question over and over again. The routing's really spread out. Like, you don't see many courses where they cover this much ground. There's good reason for that. You have to do a ton of planting. Look at all the grass that he's planted. Single planted, we might add, as well, with some multi-planted near tees, but mostly you're on your own here. So there's a good reason we do advise tight routings, but for this course and this plot, what he was looking to emulate is this really expansive routing, and you had to do this. You had to go and like dot holes everywhere. The other thing is these textures really kind of act as planting as well. You'll see the little splatters of light rough, which we can see when we zoom out, those bits of green, and the bunkers as well. Those all add to the visual effect, as well as the minimal trees. They really draw your eye. So I guess understanding what you're trying to do with your course and having a clear vision is absolutely key for something like this. And for most golf courses, I've always found the best courses I've done have been the ones where I knew exactly what I was trying to accomplish going in. And for me, this one has a greater clarity than most courses I've ever seen in the game. Beyond that, what else can you take? I think just having fun and being playful with green sites, green contours, different challenges. If we look at 17, you've got a little mound in the middle, big false front. Sorry, 16. If we look at 17, you've got this uncluttered green site, but a big swale in the middle. Like for this course, and mound at the front, for this course, that totally works. And that is all the hazards he needs around this green. Once he plays with the approach angle and where you're playing from, where are you landing it? If you're too far right, this little mound's coming into play. Sometimes the land movement can be all you need, but it has to work with the bigger picture. We've got really big dunes, and then we've got this low profile land movement that then is really impactful. If you look at a course like St Andrews, it's those 2 feet little hummocks and dips. That's what provides all the strategy. So I think those would be my main takeaways. It's nailing the plot and environment and having a course that fits that, as well as then being, when you've got enough mastery of the tools, being fearless and trying things just to see if they work. Sometimes like this sort of stuff is quite risky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it won't. And I thought for this is one of my absolute favourite courses in game because it's just so much fun. And for me, to retain interest, I want to be looking and thinking, oh, it's this hole because I remember it because of that shot or that question it asked. I will always remember 3 for that little funnel entrance. I will always remember 5, for example, for this little central bunker just in front of the green, and then the heavy contouring, meaning that you have to be super precise with that. With 8, I'll remember that kind of half banked in sort of semi-punch bowl thing, which I think is really cool, as well as that little blind tee shot. There's something on every hole that you want to remember, and you can't always do that for all 18, and I don't think you necessarily do it here. But if you can come away from a course remembering, say, half the holes for something that those did, and they still feel like they're cohesive and they work together and they fit the environment, you've produced a really great course. Now, we wouldn't be doing ourselves justice if we didn't also pay close attention to these awesome clubhouses he's put together. So we've got And I say plural, we've got the one in the middle of the plot, which is just incredible. But then, kind of further away, on the outskirts of the plot, I'll just zoom out and find it, because I always get lost with this one. I think it's all the way over here. 9. We've got this little beauty. Now, this is definitely something you don't need to do, but doesn't it look awesome? And I didn't think there was a better way to end the video than just looking at this. So it gives you an idea of the sort of attention to detail that some of these guys work with. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Play more of his courses. He's only done a few, but they're really well worth it. See you later.